James Harden was traded to the Clippers on October 31, and upon his arrival to the lineup on November 6, the Clippers immediately lost 5 games in a row. At the time, anytime I was asked if the Clippers could work with Harden, I always said the same thing. On paper, Harden's skill set could work next to Kawhi Leonard, Paul George and Russell Westbrook, but the attitudes and willingness would have to mesh. All 4 are major ISO scorers, and both Westbrook and Harden tend to operate as ball-dominant floor generals that create offense for both themselves and teammates. But, to play together, one would have to be willing to play off the ball. And Westbrook doesn't shoot well enough for that to be his role. But Harden does. He joins Leonard and George as excellent shooters. So, I thought the 4 of them could work together if Harden moved off-ball into more of a shooter, secondary engine role, with Westbrook running the show and each of the other 3 as elite finishers that could also attack imbalanced defenses. That was my thought when the trade occurred. Then, Harden did his introductory news conference and vetoed the idea that he could fit into a system with other players. He instead stated, "I am the system." With that as Harden's stated attitude, it was predictable that the Clippers would flounder. And they did, for the first couple weeks. Then, an amazing thing happened. The same Westbrook that had railed against coming off the bench in his previous stops, who had been a bit of a nightmare fit on the Lakers the last couple seasons with he and LeBron James both vying for the floor general role, reportedly volunteered to come off the bench for the Clippers. And everything changed. Since Westbrook moved to the bench, the Clippers have won 10 of their last 13 games, with an average scoring margin of +7.3 points per game that would rank 4th in the NBA and 2nd in the Western Conference if that were their margin on the season. They have won 5 straight games, the longest active winning streak in the NBA, and have ascended to the 8th seed in the Western Conference, and 3rd place in the Pacific Division. This seems to at least preliminarily answer the question of whether this Clippers team could come together and win following the Harden trade. Yes. Now, the follow-up questions arise. For both fantasy basketball and betting purposes, what does this new normal look like on the level of the individual player's production? And how do the Clippers fit into the various futures races in the NBA, moving forward? We'll start by comparing the individual offensive production for the 4 main players during the first 5 games of the season pre-Harden, the first 5 games of the Harden era when all 4 started, and the most recent 13 games with Harden starting and Westbrook coming off the bench.